All right, ladies and gentlemen, you ready for that daily video? Because Beam has become one of the top crypto gaming coins in the entire space. It's incredible to see this because I think this ushers in a brand new era for what is to expect from crypto gaming tokens. I've been talking about this for quite some time. Some people think that apparently you need to build the best crypto games and you need to have everything out already to be able to get a valuation that's fair for you. We're not in the stock market. I'm sorry to say this. Maybe Bitcoin, the ETF, is in the stock market, but the rest of the crypto industry is not. And so valuations right now are really predicated on what is speculation in the crypto industry. And today we're going to be taking a look at Beam. Of course, the thumbnail suggests that maybe this could be a 40x. We'll be touching base on what I personally think could be a possible Beam valuation that would make sense peak bull. If you enjoy this kind of content, as always, like and subscribe. We do have a Discord. We collect every single day. We give whitelist spots, opportunities all the time. In the description, discord.gg/legion with a 3 as the E. So let's get into the Beam video. Here we are today, $1.7 billion. It is just crazy how big this has become in such a short amount of time. And so an introduction to Beam. Beam, if you didn't know, wasn't Beam. It was actually something else. Beam came from what was Merit Circle. And now Merit Circle, they still exist. Okay, it's not like they don't exist, but the token has migrated into Beam for good reason. It used to be 2 tokens. Now they are officially going to be Merit Circle to Beam. Merit Circle is a DAO, and as you can imagine, DAOs have a lot of money. They have a heck of a lot of money. Merit Circle is kind of like the king of the crypto gaming DAOs, though. In terms of connections, they are the ones that have it. They just have it right now. And so what they ended up doing is one of the most genius rebrands in all of crypto history. The Merit Circle token, if you did not know, is MC. You could check it out for yourself if you want. Of course, it's going to have a very similar valuation here, but you look at this chart, you know, it's been kind of trickling over time. The circulating supply getting a lot closer, making a lot more sense. But Merit Circle had branded itself as this amazing gaming DAO that was getting the best investments in the crypto space. They had this huge treasury, which the latest report for it is $118 million. That's a lot of money to have on liquid assets. Just a lot of assets to have, to say the least. And so they've done an incredible job of fostering networks within crypto gaming to make their DAO a success. And so what do you do when you become a really big DAO with a bunch of connections? Well, what you do, at least the Merit Circle way, is that you make your own subnet on what is on Avalanche, a just glistening crypto gaming hub at this point, and you put your mark there. And after you put your mark, you do a couple other things, but that's what the initial conception of what Beam was. Is. If you actually look at Beam right now, you know, they've got their studio investments, for example, Forgotten Playland, Edenhorn, and then they got, you know, tactile, whatever, merchandise packages. They've also got games on Beam, which is the part of this subnet thing, which subnets I think are a really cool technology. You separate yourself from the main net. The main net goes down, doesn't matter. Subnet's still building its own tech. It's its own entity, essentially. You could put games on it, and if you're someone that is already investing in a lot of games, you get the narrative of putting those games on your chain. Now we're thinking. That is a lot of value add to a chain. And so that's exactly what Beam is, right? That's the TLDR of everything to be had with Beam. Merit Circle goes ahead, invests into a lot of these crypto gaming tokens. They have a lot of liquid cash. You could see here, for example, they got $35 million worth of USDC. We could break down everything else, but you know, that's their biggest holding. In terms of NFTs, a lot of money in NFTs, right? Of course, you know, the investments, it is what it is. NFTs suck. The tokens in equity, you know, they pretty much doubled their investments. This was back in December, which we all know that the price of things have only gone up in crypto gaming since then. They've invested in games like Mixed Mob, which I have invested in as well. Oh Baby Games, Rainy Studios, which has a token on the Beam right now, which I will show you how to put liquidity into the Beam network. They have Amino, Inspect, which was incredible 30x gains for most people that entered. So they've been doing pretty well for themselves. They've been doing very well for themselves. Other things you should know is that they're building with their network, like I've said before, with other blockchains. In fact, when I saw this, you know, I thought initially that they were just going to stick with Avalanche, but no, they're like, hey, we believe in an omni-chain future where the chain you're on does not matter. And so they've partnered with Immutable and Polygon's ZK EVM, easiest way to explain it, just, the Immutable blockchain, got some Polygon on there, to build the Sphere market. You can check the Sphere market for yourself, but they've successfully integrated the Immutable ZK EVM testnet and mainnet onto Sphere. Is it the biggest utility in the world? Is this the thing that deserves billions of dollars worth of valuation? No, it just really isn't. But it is something that nonetheless is a resource that shouldn't be understated, and it goes to show how networked these guys are. They're investing into a lot of these different crypto gaming tokens and NFTs and projects with their treasury. It's constantly increasing with their network effect. They're offering the opportunity to be on the Beam network as well. And, the network effect just continues to grow and grow and grow. Of course, this is not a bear market play. This wouldn't work that well in a bear market because if you're a DAO and your assets are tanking, it's not good for you. During a bull, however, it's really good. Like a very good thing to be a part of all these different crypto gaming tokens. And so that's why we're seeing Beam do so well. They did this rebrand successfully. They have partnered with a lot of these guys in these massive, massive chains. They got Immutable. For heaven's sake, they have Immutable. So they have everybody there. 94% of all Merit Circles tokens have already migrated. I believe this ends somewhere in October. I could be wrong. I don't know the specific date, but most of the tokens have already migrated. You can see the holder concentration there. There aren't that crazy amount of wallets on Merit Circle. Something you should know, by the way, is that the Merit Circle team does buy back Beam tokens. This is something that they end up doing. I believe they say it on this report. Here it is. In Q4 2023, Merit Circle bought a total of 514 million Beam tokens at a USD value of $3.2 million. What do you think? Do they hold them? Do they dump on us? No. All Beam tokens bought during this quarter have been burned. Maybe you don't believe in them. Maybe you're like, oh, but I don't trust you. You're just some random project. Maybe you could be lying to me. Well, they do actually give their information with their wallets. So if there's anywhere to believe, just cross-reference everything on Merit Circle. I think it's good for their credibility. Their treasury has been growing despite the amount of tokens that they're burning. It's a couple of million. If their portfolio is growing 25%, they don't care about burning a couple million. It's just good to see that there are these projects out there that, while it's not the highest quality in the world in terms of like, oh, but they're building 700 different games and they're the biggest crypto gaming ecosystem, there are these specific hyper niches that are doing really well. If you want me to kind of touch base on something that I see as extremely similar as Beam, but much smaller, it would be something like GuildFi. GuildFi right now is at 192 million. They also have a very large treasury, and they also have a token that had its, time and place, which makes sense with a rebrand, right? 36 cents, very interesting. I love Beam. I love what they're doing. They're the top dogs here. And so maybe you want to get into the Beam ecosystem. I've actually invested personally into things on Beam, and I've figured it out, how you can actually get liquidity onto the Beam network. Very simple. On the top right of the page, you're going to see this little thing that says wrong network. You're going to click on it, okay? And you're going to click Beam, okay? You click Beam, switch to the Beam network. You will be on the Beam network. And then to get things on Beam, very simple. I did it on Ethereum. Trust me. When I tell you, you don't want to do things on Ethereum, what you want to do is that you want to get the Beam token on AVAX. Simple as that. And then throw it over to Beam. That's the easiest way to go about doing this. Now, you might not be able to do that on centralized exchanges. You could go ahead and look at things like CoinMarketCap to try to find these pairs, which I could go ahead and actually show how you do it live. You look it up on Beam, then you click on the Markets tab, see if you can find any AVAX pairs. Usually you won't be able to, so let's just very quickly look. Looks like we can't. So what you need to do is find an AVAX pair. And then, you get Avalanche on any of your centralized exchanges, send it over to your, MetaMask wallet, and then you're going to go to something like Trader Joe. Once you go to, not Trader Joe's. And then after you go to Trader Joe, you're going to go ahead, swap out the AVAX for Beam, and then, of course, just bridge it over. Simple as that. You get it on there. Hopefully, I ended up giving you some insight, my price predictions for where Beam can go. A lot of people will say this is overvalued. 1.7 billion is ridiculous. I don't know if we could 40x from here, just to be quite frank with you. If, when we made this video, we had invested in Beam back in November. Of course, it was called Merit Circle at the time. We are up already 584%. So from where we bought it at, I do think that a 40x isn't the craziest thing in the world. However, with the current prices, I would say somewhere around a $10 billion market cap, peak bull market, it's not out of the ordinary, especially if they begin to scale similar to what GameSwift is doing in terms of getting a bunch of those games building on their native network, providing some kind of SDK technology. VCs are great at doing that. Then I could see higher valuations. Right now, of course, I don't think Beam warrants a $10 billion market cap, but I'm sure as they continue to build out the ecosystem, it's still very early on. You could tell they're hustlers. You could tell they're trying to make it work. They could possibly warrant a valuation as high as 10 billion plus. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section in regards to everything. I hope you got some value. Hopefully you learned about Beam, why it's doing so well. Until the next time, stay classy, and that's all.